version of the construction, the owner representative that like we could potentially post on LinkedIn. It's such a great platform for professionals.
Yeah, so that's next on what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So anybody, any questions with the process, with the RFQ, where we're at with the PKA building?
Okay, so after the architect stuff is submitted on September 4th, then you said the RFP's the next round, right? Okay, at what point, so when does the architect have to be selected by again?
We probably won't have anybody under contract. We won't have everybody under contract probably late October, early
Okay.
November. Because the RFQ process, we have a scoring rubric. We'll go through all this together. And when I say we, the OFCC, myself, representatives of district, will go through a scoring process, and then we'll select people to move on to the next round. And then we had to give them a few weeks to prepare for a presentation. Then therefore, it's just the timetable. I'm probably looking late October, early November, probably for contracts to be actually signed off on with OFCC and ourselves.
Okay, and then during that process, does all of that fall within like our meeting times too, that we'll have to approve things? I just want to make sure that we're being effective.
Right now, there's nothing, they know what our board schedule is.
Okay.
So there's nothing would slow us down. If we have
Okay.
to call an emergency meeting for something, we'll do that, but there's nothing right now that they say, oh, you gotta change these things and we need approval.
Awesome. Okay.
Nothing at at this time.
Okay.
And our project manager is, like I said, has been selected, so she's been in contact with me to look over stuff, as Dave, as well, so I'm not concerned with right now having to add any meetings.
Okay.
Rick?
And what's the status on the bonds?
So the bonds, we met yesterday. We will sell those a week from today.
Okay.
So by noon on the 27th, Dave, they should be taken care of.
Yep, we start at 9 a.m. most likely on the 27th, and it should all be sold. And if not, then the underwriter will buy the rest. So, but the insurance, obtaining the insurance on the issuance to bring the rate up higher is going to go through, and everything's looking really good.
At this point, we don't know what the rate is, though.
We
yet,
do not.
right? Until
That's
that
correct.
day.
And we won't know until
That
day.
Yeah.
Right now, rates continue to drop, which is a good for the community, because we're hoping to get maybe 4% or less. Would be
That'd be awesome.
Fantastic.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So we shall see on the 27th and then report back to everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, fantastic. All right, and then did you have a second part to that too?
So with the owner representative, so I gave a hard copy to everybody. I gave something, I used AI to help put together. I tried to look at a bunch of different companies that had owner reps, and this is something that we could post out and see what kind of interest we get, and see what people would, how much value they could bring to the school. But again, I think even dealing with the project, and we might be able to show you after the meeting, the rooms that we just got completed. I mean, it was a short span of 2-3 weeks to get everything done. They did it, but they're contacting me, they're contacting Kim. There's questions that need to be answered right away, and we're not always available, especially now with the school year starting, to be able to be here to take care of these things, because there's other responsibilities to deal with. So having that owner rep who could be dedicated only to this project might be something that would be useful. And Rick, I think we spoke about the CTC and the Miami Valley CTC and their project and how they did it. They literally took somebody's administrative role and took them out and put them solely, internal person solely in place. They had no other responsibilities, and then the superintendent helped out as well, so they kind of co-managed that.
Right.
They really had dedicated people to focus solely on that project.
Okay. Perfect.
What questions anybody have with that, the job description with the owner's rep?
And then clarification on this. So this won't actually be something we look at until October, November, correct? After we've already selected architect?
I would say if we could select that early to help us out with the process,
Yes.
Okay,
that would be better.
okay.
But we had to find the right person.
All right, and then my other question, sorry guys, tell me to stop. Do we need to put this on the agenda item tonight to approve it to move forward?
I don't think we need to, because I think it's a matter of if we select somebody, we can have a contract then.
Okay.
Then you approve the contract.
Fantastic. Go ahead,
Cindy,
guys.
you got a question?
Yeah, so does this have to go through the RFQ process?
No.
And
This
where-
is our own process.
So the construction manager is a different position, okay? So, and then my other question is, where will this position be posted? Will it be posted in newspapers and, like Angie said, LinkedIn or something, or?
We would use our social media to post it out, but I would post it in other pieces and actually I'd probably ask our current architect with the bus maintenance, right, where else could we post it? Where would be a good place to post it? The stuff from the RFQ that went out from the OFCC, I mean, we've been getting emails, but hey, we see you got stuff out there, we want to generate that too, so we would post it in a lot of different places.
Okay.
I really think this position is so important.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's our advocate and our expert all wrapped into one. And I think that whoever gets this position has to be visionary and really think futuristic. So I'm just really anxious to see who applies, and I hope we get a really great pool of candidates.
Agreed. Kyle, did you have anything?
I did not.
Okay. Rick, did you have anything else? Okay.
Can I just interject really quick? I'm really sorry. I'm having a really hard time hearing because of the fan. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, is
I'll
there?
speak loud.
Oh, well, okay. Or can we like scooch or something?
Do you guys want to sit closer?
I can't
You
hear.
can sit closer to me. I promise.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I can't hear.
There's room down here.
All right, Ann, do you want to
come
come here?
sit here?
Do you guys care?
No,
I
absolutely
can't.
not.
I'm like,
I don't know. Did you get sprayed? You got cooties?
no,
Okay.
just scooch down. Here, we'll get close.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
I'm like, I'm trying.
Okay, better?
Yep.
Okay. If not, you just let me know.
I'm good.
We'll move more.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, team.
Go team. All right. Anything else?
And then the last thing is the bus maintenance garage building tennis court. So we've had Garmin Miller, we approved to be our architect. We're working on those local funded projects. We've been working with them with maintenance, with facilities, with transportation to build out the bus garage that will go on the southwest side of here, as well as the tennis courts that will go out there. So we have some designs that are getting finalized. So when we do get a construction manager on board, they will start then have designs to put out for bid so we can get that part of the project going. So we've already talked about some various things that we have some concerns with. One might be retention pond, like retention areas. We may need to use Gavin Coppick's playground as a detention area for water at times. Have to dig a hole, keep it fenced off. But other than that, I think we're moving in that direction so we can get that moving ahead of time, be ready to go. So that's in the works and looking forward to finalizing those plans.
Awesome. All right, next is health insurance for part-time employees.
So in the past, the district has provided insurance for people that have 3 hours or more a day. And one of the things, while we appreciate that, the contribution of those part-time employees, we to provide that benefit of maybe in excess of $10,000, depending on what the insurance is. Really think we need to have a 30-hour-a-week threshold. That's typical what the threshold is for businesses. For any business, it's 30 hours a week. And moving that to 30 hours, it's not for anybody that's currently in positions. We keep those grandfathered in. Newly hired people that we would move to that. So we're, again, not affecting the people who are currently here, but moving forward financially to make sure that the investments are there for everybody.
Is there a scenario in which, moving forward, anybody that we hire new that's not necessarily eligible for benefits, is there a scenario in which they could opt in and pay 100% of the premium and take advantage of like our group rate at 100% cost to them? Or were we saying no benefits offered unless you're 30 hours or more?
I think I'm open to that. I mean, I'm open to looking at those ideas. I'm not as long as it doesn't hurt us. Now, again, if they get put into when they get put into our pool, they count against us too.
Okay.
So they would count against our rates, but so could anybody, right? So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, is our pool big enough to handle that? And that's something that we can talk to the EPC with to get their thoughts on that.
It's legal.
If it's legal, how to make that happen. Essentially, it's kind of like a COBRA type of thing.
Yeah.
Extended COBRA or whatever you call it.
Yeah. I think it could be a way for us to stay competitive. It could be an additional benefit that we offer, again, if they chose to, 100% cost to them, but it could be attractive in that we actually do offer that for part-time employees. We just don't cover any of the cost. So just something to think about.
Yeah. So this is just wanted to have a conversation before we do anything.
Yeah.
So that's something I can come back with and get answers for.
Okay.
So I was just curious, is there opportunities for them to get those 30 hours? So I know in some districts, I'm just giving an example, they're a bus driver during the day and then they're an aide during the middle of the day and then they bus drive at the end. Is that something that is still an open possibility for somebody new who would come in?
Correct.
Okay.
And we actually have some potential people that want to work more.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And what is in other districts, like all the surrounding districts, do part-time employees receive insurance in other
It's
districts?
different. I don't have that comparison in front of me, but everybody does things how they see it and different. Same thing like insurance. Some insurances are 70-30. Everything's a little different. Some people do HSAs and contribute, so everybody, I don't know if it's apples, but they're not all the same apples. But I can get that information as well in front of you.
We've got a spot for you right here, Angie.
I need to go to the ENT or something.
It is difficult to hear.
I'm sorry.
You can get them over the counter now.
Is it something
I had an
new?
ear infection years ago. I
It's
cannot
just loud.
hear out of this one very well. Normally, I don't struggle
I
in
don't
here.
think it's running normally.
Sorry.
We've done meetings in here before, because it gets a little stuck
Is
here.
there something new? Because it's like,
I think it's the fan.
Okay.
And the AC.
No,
Yeah,
don't.
I don't
It's fine.
remember
It's
it.
all good.
no, but
Just
I don't
everybody
remember it
talk
being
up.
this loud. So I was just curious.
Seriously, Andy.
I'm okay. I'm facing. I can.
Get her in
Got
here
it.
She can read.
I can read your mouth.
What other questions might you have? Any other questions you might have for me? No? Okay. I'll come back with those two answers and bring
Okay.
it forward, set it out to everybody so they have it, and then talk about when might be a good time to put it up if you have the information.
Okay. Okay. I'm gotta start that so I don't forget. Okay. Okay, next is citizens may address the board. I'm going to read the public content section in just a second. Everyone sign? Want it to sign? Okay, last call. All right. All right, just as a reminder, the Board of Education recognizes the value of school governance of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters or community interest. Any person or group wishing to place an item on the agenda shall register their intent with the superintendent no later than 5 days prior to the meeting and include name and address of the participant, group affiliation, if and when appropriate, topic to be addressed. Such requests shall be subject to the approval of the superintendent and the board president. In order to permit the fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board shall provide a period of public participation at each regular meeting of the board, at those public meetings of the board during which action may be taken, and publish rules to govern such participation in board meetings. The presiding officer of each board meeting at which public participation is permitted shall administer the rules of the board for its conduct. The presiding officer shall be guided by the following rules. A, public participation shall be permitted as indicated on the order of business and or before the board takes official action on any issue of substance. B, anyone having a legit interest in the actions of the board may participate during the public portion of a meeting. C, attendees must register their intent to participate in the public portion of the meeting upon their arrival at the meeting. D, participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and will be requested to preface their comment by an announcement of their name, address, group affiliation, if and when appropriate. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 5 minutes duration unless extended by the presiding officer. F, no participant may speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak at that topic have been heard. G, all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. H, tape or video recordings are permitted. The person operating the recorder must contact the superintendent prior to the board meeting to review the possible placement of the equipment and must agree to abide by the following conditions. No obstructions are created between the board and the audience. No interviews are conducted in the meeting room while the board is in session. No commentary, adjustment of equipment, or positioning of operations is made that would distract either the board or members of the audience while the board is in session and not disrupt the meeting. I, a presiding officer may 1, interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. 2, request an individual to leave the meeting when the person does not observe non-reasonable decorum. 3, request the assistance of law enforcement officers in the removal of a disorderly person when that person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. 4, call for a recess or an adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. 5, waive these rules with the approval of the board when necessary for the protection of privacy or the admission of the board's business. J, the portion of the meeting during which the participation of the public is invited shall be limited to 30 minutes unless extended by a vote of the board. Our first speaker is Mr. Don Watson.
Madam President, I did not hear a word you said, and I just had my ears tested at Miracle Ear on Hoke Road. So you wasted 5 minutes of our time mumbling and speaking so low we can't even hear you. Angie's not alone. We're out here too. So I would appreciate it if you could get the mics out of the drawer. When Mr. Simon was here, each person had a mic. Were they stolen and not reported to the police? My question. Also, you're talking about the policies.
Mr.
In the
Watson,
past,
can you please state your name and what you're talking about?
Donald Watson, I'm talking about scripture and position. And the Eisen versus Madison 6 Court of Appeals, Mr. Stefanik, if you remember him, called me and said, because he had questioned before the new policy went in, that we are allowed to talk about anybody and anything as long as it's not obscene and a threat. So you need to check the policies. The new one came out about 2 years ago when he called me. A day coming soon, day and night, they never stop, saying, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of the life. At this time, I'll take a time out from that. I have more. But Cindy, I'll relieve a little bit of your anxiety, because I believe what you believe, that we need a representative for the taxpayers of Tipp Monroe District. So I'll be the first. I'm interested in the job with my experience. With my experience in construction, blueprint reading, 52 years of community involvement, several contract involvements, alumnus of Tipp City, chairman of the Salem Church of God Building Program, on the committee of Ginghamsburg Church New Building. I am interested in the 3-year full-time contract known as owner representative who look out for Tipp Schools' best interest in the project. Mr. Thompson at the last meeting said it needs to be a healthy pay. Well, if the superintendent is making $165,000 and the treasurer is making $155,000, then the next spot would be $150,000. I will do it for 2/3 of that, $100,000. And out of that $100,000, I will hire a secretary for me, like everyone else has a secretary. So, because I believe in Tipp City, I started the Tipp City Alumni Association in 1990. It was very successful at that time. Dr. Robert Beidler and Dr. Jim Daniels, Dr. Beidler, who built this building and the School Board of Education building for nothing to the taxpayer. Dr. Jim Daniels built the high school, and I was on that committee for planning.
30 seconds.
We have assets and liabilities. That's the biggest thing that you have to pay attention to when you're building. Plus the construction. Don't take me lightly. I'll go back to God's plan. May God himself, the God of
Sir.
peace, What did you say?
Your time's up.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mrs. Kathy Bone.
Hello, good evening. Kathy Bone, going to talk about school issues. The students and teachers are being handed, as they are every year, the policies from the school district to follow and consequences for not following those policies. However, when the board and administration don't follow policy, I find it hypocritical to think anybody else should. I will start with policy 0169.1, the public participation at board meetings. The policy last adopted June 24, 2022, reads that the board should provide for a period of public participation at every regular meeting except for work sessions, but at those public meetings of the board during which action may be taken. You have, in my eyes, violated this policy. Even though it says not a work session, it also says at those public meetings of the board where action may be taken. You have had 4 set work sessions this year that you've taken action and voted on items on the agenda without allowing any public comment. So you either need to stop taking action and voting during the work sessions or allow public comment during those work sessions. I am reading this policy as the current policy on the books. Before each meeting, Mrs. Drum reads a version of this policy, but it is incorrect. After 2 years on the policy committee and sitting as the board president this year and part of last, she and Mr. Moran still attach the old policy to the meetings. I suggest both of these issues get fixed. Next is the consent agenda. Policy 0165 allows for 5 topics on the consent agenda. When you put contracts and items that should be brought up for discussion so the public is aware of what you're doing with our money on the consent agenda, it appears you're hiding the intentions of how you're spending our money. Consent agendas were designed to speed along a meeting, not to hide things from the taxpayers. Because of misuse of the consent agendas, there is at least one case before the courts in Ohio to get rid of them. I'm hoping the taxpayer wins, as it would be a step forward in eliminating the consent agenda in public meetings, since it seems to be a tool for deceiving the public. I also brought up in March that the SRO contract was violated in February, when the SRO left the school grounds with a counselor and an administrator to interrogate a family about something that happened over the weekend. This was the job of the Tipp City Police. When the school pushes for the need of SROs in the school for the safety of all, they need to make sure it's being utilized. Otherwise, why have a contract for SROs and why have them at all? Why hasn't this issue been addressed and consequences for those involved handed out? Beyond the policy and contract violations, I want to bring up the fact that the school district has not been on the Ohio checkbook since fiscal year 2022. While a snafu may have caused a temporary stop for the Tipp schools, the schools had time to take care of that issue and needs to get back on the checkbook for transparency. All of you threw out the word for transparency when you ran for office. I know it's only a word, but if you're going to throw it out there, then pay attention and push for it. I feel this board's taken the teachers and staff for granted. You fired staff and teachers and then hired more staff and teachers. You eliminated a job in administration and then created a job in administration. You're giving raises and not cutting back on benefits in administration. Seems to me you're playing a shell game with the taxpayers' money. This board has approved spending millions this year with no questions asked. Lastly, even though this is a drop in the bucket and not going to hurt his wallet, otherwise he would not have offered it, in the past, it's past time for someone on this board to add an agenda item to approve the $10,000 in a salary reduction from Mr. Moran that he was willing to give up during his TV interview with the network news station as his part in riffing of the staff. He offered it up on the news. Nobody on this board has taken him up on that. He hasn't put it on the agenda, so I want to know which one of you is going to have the nerve to put it on the agenda and to approve his salary reduction. Thank you.
Oh, next. Next is informational reports. Miami Valley CTC meeting minutes. Mr. Maines?
Yes, I will start out by letting you know that I was not able to attend that meeting because I was in Europe. And so anyways, as you can see on the agenda, though, there were several things that took place. Primarily, it's pretty structured. We had employment of some new personnel. We had, we had a out-of-state travel report by a couple of the staff members. We renewed our membership with the Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy, and the cost of that was $1,000. We assigned a delegate to the Capitol Conference, which I know is going to be coming up with us too here at our board. We received a couple of donations, including a 2010 Audi Q5 automobile. And that's pretty nice for the automotive department. Let's see, we assigned an alternate to the Capitol Conference also, which needs to be done with our board. Let's see, we approved some vendor invoices, and then afterwards, we had some reports from our administration detailing trip reports. We received a legislative report, and of course, we had our treasurer's report, superintendent report, and other board commentary. So, but beyond that, we received an update from Dr. Weldy, and he reported that we had 2,132 students this time compared to 1,916 last year. So that's a pretty significant increase. He also reported that, the administrative, maintenance, safety, and technology staff members have been working diligently to prepare for the students and staff members, so that all went well. Still a few things left on construction, but very few. If you haven't been there, the building is massive, and it's beautiful, and they have all their, just a month ago, there was bare dirt out there, but now it's been landscaped, and the parking lots are all in, and it's fantastic. We had earlier this week was an annual meeting, an administrative retreat, where we provided the state of the district update and shared some important information with our entire administrative team. We also discussed student safety, and participated in a practice calamity activity to hone our preparedness and communication skills. And this year, the administrative team went through what they call a Stop the Bleed training and received certifications to ensure that we're prepared to treat our students and colleagues if an emergency first aid situation or natural disaster or violent act happened to occur. Another thing that he mentioned is that we announced that we are returning to UD Arena for the senior recognition ceremony for the class of 2025. And we also we had a successful scheduled pickup meeting this past Monday, or it's actually August 5th, and it was the first time we've been able to do it all in one night. In the past, it took 3 nights, but the size of our facility now accommodates all of the students being in there and doing their pickups. And so it's been a very successful opening to the season for Miami Valley CTC. Dr. Weldy's done a great job, so as have all the other staff members. So it's been pretty awesome. And if you get a chance to go over there and take a look at it, I really encourage everybody to do it. So.
Thank you, Mr. Maines. Other reports?
The Tipp Monroe Community Services met last week. They finished up their Lunch on Us program. It was another successful summer with lots of lunch deliveries and pickups. I was able to volunteer the second to the last day, and we had to make some extra lunches. Well, Renee did.
Yeah.
So they're just really doing the big, the Mum Festival is the big event, and that's just around the corner, just like a month away. So we'll be looking forward to the car show and all of the events that are involved with the Mum Festival. It's always a fun time of year. They're hiring a new program coordinator since Katie left, as she retired. They are also rewriting all the job descriptions for all the positions there. They are into the fall sports, soccer and other children's sports, the backpack program for schools. They received a grant from the Tipp Foundation for $3,600 for Camp Kern, and that also benefits our fifth graders. So those are all great things.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, do you care? You can jump in with me. So we had a quick policy, well, not quick, it was almost 3 hours. Yeah.
It was short, Amber.
We just, so if you guys don't remember, a while ago, we asked Norm to sit with us, and Norm Burkhart, to go back over our policies, because we've realized that there's a lot of things that have been missed over the years previous to some of us being here. So we've been going over them with a fine-tooth comb, adjusting them, changing them to meet the needs of our board now and moving forward as we think into the future. They are, of course, not ready yet, because this, in case you guys don't know, there's a lot of policies, a lot. And so going over each one individually takes time. So Mr. Moran, it's his committee and we are sitting on it, but it's a lot. It's a lot. We got more work to do, but that was what we've
Pretty
been.
interesting.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's interesting how, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff, but any more you want to say on that, Cindy?
No, we've gone through a lot, 300s, 400s,
And I think we
100s.
just, yeah. Yeah, we're moving along.
We're moving along.
So, and we have another one coming up. All right, any other reports? Okay. Mr. Stevens, you are next with our treasurer's report, monthly financial report. Oh, wait, yeah, just information. Okay, want to make sure I didn't need a motion.
So you notice there's 2 reports on the agenda this week.
Yes.
Just wanted to let everyone know that the June numbers had to have an adjustment because we spent more in our IDEA federal grant funding. We had charged some salaries to it and more than what the grant had, so I had to make an adjustment to charge it to the general fund because there's no more federal grant money there. The dollar amount was about $12,655. So the revised report that's attached here, that is the difference, is just the change, moving expenses into the general fund for that federal. That hardly changes the final results, so everything else is still still the same. But the report that is attached has the updated June 30 cash ending balances and the report and the reconciliation. All the numbers are there. So that's more of just an informational. Then we also have the July 24 financial report attached. It's the first month of the year, or of the operating school year. The revenues are currently lower than anticipated, not anticipated, lower than expenditures, and that's because the largest portion of our revenue comes from tax collections, and those are paid twice a year. So we did receive our first payment in the month of August, so you'll see a big number jump in that spot for the August report. Everything else is running as expected. The budget versus actual report is tying back to the May forecast budget. And I mentioned last month at the last meeting that I am working on updating the forecast. We do know that the amounts on the May forecast are higher than anticipated because of all the changes with the RIFs that were taking place, and the actual expenditures came in lower than budgeted expenditures. So I do anticipate seeing reductions in all the expenses listed here, especially in salaries and benefits, that will have the largest impact and changes. So are there any questions from board members that I could answer at this time for the report?
So these are still on fiscal year,
The June report is fiscal year 24. July is fiscal year 25.
it is, okay, thank you.
We run July 1st to June 30th.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion? I hit the wrong button, hold on. Okay, B is going to be fiscal year 2025 temporary appropriation amendments. I would love a motion for the approval of the fiscal year 2025 temporary appropriation amendments, which are attached in public comment.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Maines,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. McMurray. And that is a motion for fiscal year 2025 temporary appropriation amendments. Any discussion? Oh, I guess, Mr. Stevens.
The changes to the temporary appropriations, these are not our permanent appropriations that will be submitted to the county auditor in September. But we do need to appropriate funds to start to spend them. And so you'll notice the largest increase is the building fund 004. We are anticipating the bond selling and the funding coming in September. And so I just wanted to get the funding, the rest of the funding for the bus maintenance garage and the tennis courts legally appropriated so that we could spend it if we need to, if any invoices start coming in. The other ones are just needed for, receiving additional grants or local grants. And we actually have one where the 599 fund, we removed all the appropriations because they had all been encumbered by the end of June 30th. And so we don't need that money at all. And I'm not going to appropriate money we don't need. So, any other questions?
All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Maines?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
Drum?
Yes,
Thompson?
Yes.
motion passes. Next is building project bank accounts. I would love a motion to authorize the treasurer to open and set up necessary bank accounts for the upcoming OFCC and locally funded building projects.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Maines,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Thompson. You guys okay? I'm gonna yield the floor to Mr. Stevens.
Speaking to another treasurer, the treasurer Troy, who's going through this process right now, he stated that I should have this resolution on the board agenda because there will be more accounts that need to be set up to handle the finances for the project. Red Tree will help us with more investment, a separate investment account so we can track all the money separately between state and local and such. They, our representative from Red Tree, Joe Voiland, he suggested opening a second Star Ohio account to move money into that, to pull it from our Red Tree investments into Star Ohio, because I can move that pretty easily into our regular checking account to make the payments. So accounting for everything is what the state is going to want for this, and so there's going to be these accounts that get made. So this resolution here will provide us provide me the authority to go and open those accounts as needed. And once I do, I'll report back to the board what's happened.
Perfect.
You know how many new accounts those are going to be?
Well, there's at least 3 at Red Tree. So right now I get one statement that provides about $1 million that we have on file there with them. But then I will have 3 more different accounts, one which will include state project money. And then we'll have another account with the local portion of the state project money. And then we'll have the local project money so that we can keep track of all the interest that's being earned on that. And then there will be opportunity for investing the money because this is going to be a long-term project over the next 3 years. And again, I have to keep track of all the interest and report what's earned.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then a Star Ohio account. So I'm thinking at least 4 accounts alone.
Okay.
And it could be some more.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and proceed to vote.
Maines?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
Drum?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next is I would love a motion to authorize the treasurer to establish Fund 010, classroom facilities, and Fund 034, classroom facilities maintenance.
All motion.
Okay, moved by Mrs. McMurray,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Dillard. And then I'm going to yield the floor to Mr. Stevens so he can explain.
With the OFC, with the state controlling board's final approval of the project, we now have to make sure that we establish funds 010 for the construction project. This is where we will be booking all of the state expenses and the local project expenses, and they'll have their own special cost center separating us between state and local. And then the 034 maintenance fund is the fund that we're required to put money into every year for the next 23 years. I believe it's 23 years. That's our half-mil maintenance requirement. And then we will use the money that we put in for the next 23 years to do maintenance on the project buildings. We can use that money on anything that was spent on the original project. So if a light goes out in the new K through 8 building, we can use that maintenance fund to pay for that. It's like a second permanent improvement fund, like a second 003 fund, but we are required, and that's where the money is coming from. We're putting aside money from the 003 maintenance, permanent improvement fund into this 034 maintenance fund. We are legally required to set aside a $500,000, and instead of having a vote to approve another $500,000 maintenance fund, we used the current $2 million that we're receiving. We took a $500,000 to put into that 034 fund. So this is just the legal requirement I have to do to establish these 2 new funds. I will also be reporting this to the county, or to the state auditor, that we've established these funds, because it's part of our ORC that we do that. So you will see these as new lines on our cash balance.
Okay. Any questions? Right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
McMurray?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
Drum?
Yes,
Ames?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
motion passes. Okay, next is new business consent agenda and items. This includes prior meeting minutes, resignations, new hires, supplementals, substitutes, contract corrections, leave requests, home instructional tutors, the bus schedule, transportation, and senior assistance. I'd love a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All motion.
Moved by Mr. Thompson,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Maines. We don't need any discussion, so we'll go ahead and vote.
Thompson?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
McMurray?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. New business, 7A, OSBA delegate appointment for the annual business meeting. Hold on.
Guess we start out as just a discussion.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll discuss first. So, let's see. I know Cindy went last year. Is that it? Ange,
I've been in my professional
in your
role.
professional role, okay. So, OSBA every year does a large meeting. It's for Ohio School Board Association, and it's an opportunity for us to get extra training and information. So each year we're required to pick a delegate who will actually sit in the business meeting and get to vote on whatever is going on. So what ends up happening is you'll get an email soon before it with information about what will be talked about during the actual meeting process, and then when it's time for you to vote, you vote on it, yes or no, whatever you decide to do. This is in Columbus, and I can't remember the dates. Is it October?
It's November 11th.
November.
I just totally lied. November 11th. Too many dates in my head. So if there's anybody interested, I did it last year. I liked it. I would be fine with doing it again. But if there's someone else who would prefer to do it, y'all can just jump at the opportunity.
I'm gonna nominate you.
Oh, okay, fantastical.
A second.
Okay, well, that was real easy. Okay, so the motion is on the table to appoint myself, Amber Drum, as the delegate for the 2024 OSBA annual business meeting, and in the event the delegate I cannot serve, is there someone who would like to be the alternate?
I will.
And Mrs. McMurray has volunteered to be the alternate. We will go ahead and vote on that because Mr. Maines and Mr. Thompson decided that that would be a good plan. So, Mr. Stevens, when you are ready, we will.
Give me one moment to drop the names.
You are totally fine.
Mrs. Drum will serve as the delegate, and Mrs. McMurray as the alternate. With Mr. Maines and Mr. Thompson. Maines,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes?
McMurray.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
See you in Columbus.
Yay. It's going to be fun. Okay. I like learning things. Anyway. Next, I would love a motion for the approval of the Tipp City, it's on here. Approval of the Tipp City Exempted Village Schools and TCEA Updated Master Agreement effective August 1st, 2024 to July 31st of 2027.
I'll move that we approve the master agreement between the Tipp City Education Association.
And I will second.
Okay. So moved by Mrs. Dillard and seconded by Mrs. McMurray to approve the Tipp City Education Exempted Village Schools and TCA Updated Master Agreement effective August 1st, 2024 through July 31st of 2027. We'll vote whenever you're ready, Mr. Stevens.
Okay. Dillard,
Oh, sorry, I'm
I
sorry,
was
I
gonna
forgot
say.
discussion. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I took part in the negotiations, and it was a really enjoyable, actually, a very well-planned, well-organized negotiations. I'm really thankful that we had done the right sizing so that we were able to give our teachers raises and actually add 2 steps to the master agreement. So I just want to thank Heather and her team for presenting and organizing a great negotiation session. It went very well, so.
And I also participated with Cindy, and I really felt like it was a team effort, and with Don Scott also attended, and Mr. Moran, and the whole TCEA team. I appreciate their time, and we had great discussions. I think we all learned a lot, and I think that we appreciated each other more after the fact and saw perspectives. So I'm really excited. I feel as if this is appropriate for our educators to show them that we do value them and respect them. And I think it's that last kind of piece of a fresh start to a new year, and we can truly get moving on new beginnings. So I really enjoyed serving on this committee with Cindy.
It was a great learning experience. And we had a lot to accomplish.
Yes.
But it went really well. So
Yes.
again, just thank you.
And kudos to Mr. Moran also for his preparedness, and also for TCEA, their preparedness. I think, that really helps when you come with a vision and you're able to work together, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for all the work you did, and Heather and her team and everyone involved, so. All right. Anything from you gentlemen? No? All right.
I would just say that I love our teachers and our administrators, and I know you two worked hard on it, and Mr. Moran did too. and I'm glad that everything worked out well. We got the greatest teachers in the world. So it's just my feelings.
Dave was awesome, too.
Good job, Dave.
Dave had all the numbers all the time. I mean, he could pull up, he came in and had his little Excel spreadsheet.
I live in Excel.
Good job, Dave.
So it was just really a great team effort. It was very collaborative. So
Good. That is very nice to
I
hear.
think everyone was very happy at the end.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, we'll go ahead and vote.
Dillard,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Okay, next is I'd love a motion for approval of the salary schedule for the 24-25 school year for administration, classified, and substitute staff.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Maines,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Dillard. And then Mr. Maines, any discussion?
I would just once again say that, I know so many of them and they're always so good and I think that they are dedicated and I'm glad things worked out again for them. I love all our classified and administrative staff too. We got a great bunch of people.
Okay, Mr. Thompson? Oh, sorry, Mrs. Dillard, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Dillard.
I don't have any comments.
Okay.
I think that it was a natural process, so.
Excellent. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Maines,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Next is the approval of the following, I'd love a motion for the approval of the following 24-25 administrator salaries. It's for Mr. Thomas Pecor and Mrs. Dawn Scott, our Director of Exceptional Children and our Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
All motion.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. McMurray. Is there any discussion, Mr. Thompson?
No, other than just a comment that I think these are well warranted moves that we're making here.
Okay. Mrs. McMurray?
I agree. I've actually been a curriculum director, and I think that this is more than appropriate for a district this size, for both of those two who put in a lot of time and effort in these roles. So I think that this is definitely a fair recommendation.
All right, anyone else? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Maines.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Oh, wrong letter. Okay, next is new contracts for certified staff for 24-25. This is a motion for approval of the certified staff for the 24-25 school year. In public content, there is a list of the certified new staff contracts.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
All right, thank you, guys. Motion by Mrs. McMurray and seconded by Mr. Maines. Any discussion, guys?
I don't have any.
All right. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
McMurray,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes for our certified staff contracts. Next is a motion for approval of the classified staff for the 24-25 school year. Under public content, you'll find the list of the new staff, classified staff, new contracts.
All motion.
Okay, moved by Mr. Thompson
I'll second.
and seconded by Mrs. Dillard, sorry. Is there any discussion?
I'm just happy to see all the school bus drivers.
Yes. Thankful for them when they pick up the children in the morning.
Yes.
All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Thompson?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
Drum?
Yes,
Maines?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
motion passes. Next is G, extended day contracts. I would love a motion for approval of the extended day contracts for the 24-25 school year. The extended day contracts are listed in the public content below.
I'll motion.
Okay, moved by Mrs. McMurray. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Maines. All right, and then any discussion? Well, I have a question, and maybe I missed this, and you might have already gone over this. So is this to like bridge gaps, or like, is this because they work more days than what their contract
Correct. So
actually
the
says?
salary schedules that have been approved have a certain number of days for the classified positions, and there's a certain number of days in the negotiated agreement for teachers. The teachers is 186, the classified varies depending on the job. Most of these extended day contracts are for positions that need to be here more than just the regular teacher salary. So you've got your counselors are part of that and some of the other positions. And then for classified, we felt that, I believe that our cafeteria managers are on a 189-day salary schedule, but Mrs. Hagan felt that we needed 2 extra days for the cooks and the manager to come in and get the cafeteria building, the kitchen ready for the upcoming school year. So this is above and beyond what we've got in the salary schedules.
Awesome.
The 189 days includes the holiday pay that's required by law, so it's not, we still need them to come in, again, just like other staff members. They have to get the kitchen ready, it's been dormant, and they have to close it down when they're done as well. So it's important that, again, if they showed up on Monday before school started, that would be a problem. Ordering food, all those things.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be good for public content. Okay, awesome. All right, I don't have anything else. Anyone else? No. All right, then we'll go ahead and proceed to vote.
McMurray?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes?
Thompson?
Yes.
All right. Next is our health insurance changes. Recommend the approval of the following changes to the health insurance coverage to begin in January of 2025. Public content listed is in order to decrease premiums by 5%. We would like to recommend the following changes to the health insurance coverage beginning January 1st. Prescriptions to 15/30/45 from 10/20/30. Coinsurance to 90/10 from 100 and 0. And deductibles to 250/500 from 100 to 200.
Deductible,
Deductible, thank you.
not deductions.
Thank you. Deductible, my bad. Whew.
All motion.
Okay, moved by Mr. Thompson,
I'll second.
seconded by Mrs. Dillard. Is there any discussion?
I'd like just to mention that this was discussed during negotiations, although it wasn't part of the actual bargaining. It's not part of the actual negotiated agreement, but it was discussed, and the teachers, they supported this, so.
And I'd just like to say from my perspective with what we've seen happen with health insurance over the past 10 plus years, I think we've been extremely generous. And I think even this transition is an extremely generous one that's both going to help us save some money, but also keep costs low for our employees. So even though it is a little bit of a bump on their end in terms of what they have to pay to cover. It's still far and away one of the more generous plans that I've seen in most sectors of business at this point, so.
Very generous.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes?
Drum,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Number 8 is executive session. At this time, I would love a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purposes authorized under Board of Education Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22G1. To consider the employment of a public employee or official. Official action may be taken following the executive session.
I'll move that we adjourn to executive session.
Moved by Mrs. Dillard,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. McMurray. Any discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and vote.
Dillard,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, the time is now 7:11 PM and we will head to executive session. Okay, the time is now 7:37. There was no official action taken. All right, I will tell you about our upcoming meetings. So our next work session meeting will occur on September 3rd, 2024, at the Board of Education office beginning at 6 p.m. And our next regular Board of Education meeting will occur on September 17th, 2024, at LT Ball Intermediate School beginning at 6 p.m. At this time, I would love a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Or motion.
Okay, moved by Mr. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. McMurray. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Thompson?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillon?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. The time is now 7:30.